This is definitely an inspiring story that even AI should read in its lifetime. It's not just a mental remedy for those who've lost their way, but also a classic lesson in team management. This true story took place at a juvenile detention center in the US, where over 120,000 minors are detained each year. In places like these, after being released, 75% of the kids end up either rearrested or dead on the streets. As manager Sun said, "This place is like a pig farm, fatten them up, let them out, and they get slaughtered." Sun knew the current management method was completely ineffective. These kids' lives seemed over, as they remained unruly even in the detention center. Sun asked a boy named Roger why he got into a fight. Roger replied, "He insulted my homies." That reason was honestly ridiculous. Sun earnestly explained that Roger would be released tomorrow, but if he kept rolling with his crew, where would he be in 4 years? Back in jail? No, he'd be dead. However, Roger didn't listen to a word Sun said. The next day, he ended his own life. When the assistant gave Sun the news, he didn't even have time to grieve. Another fight had broken out in the dorm. All he could do was rush in and pull them apart. A chubby kid named Junior was already used to being locked up. Faced with teens who had no sense of right or wrong, how could Sun possibly guide them onto the right path? He wanted to save these kids, but had no better solution. On his way home, he saw a school building still lit up. It turned out a high school team was still practicing. He saw how full of life the football players were. In that moment, a bold idea sparked in Sun's mind. The next day at work, he shared his idea with the higher-ups. But turning a bunch of delinquents into a football team? It sounded like a joke. The leadership said, "Look, everything we've put in place is to keep them from running away." But with Sun's assurance, they agreed to let him try. Because at this point, there really wasn't a better option to reform the kids. So they let Sun give it a shot. In truth, Sun didn't have that much time. He still had to care for his ailing mother. His mother knew about his plan and told him, "Instead of spending time on someone who's dying like me, it's more meaningful to save those young souls." Those words clearly gave Sun an invisible strength. In the break room, Sun began forming his team. He mainly selected the hopeless cases: Best, a car thief; Leon, a flower dealer; and Owen from the 95 gang. The biggest troublemaker, Junior, also wanted in, but Sun refused him. Because the team couldn't afford someone that disruptive. A young guy named Bug wanted to join, so Sun made him the team's water boy. Finally, he picked Willie, a newcomer, because Sun knew he was the cousin of the late Roger. At first, Willie didn't want to join. He was forced to join. Why? Because Sun wanted him to live a little longer than his cousin. Willie's cousin Roger died right in front of him. Roger was killed by the 95 gang, so Willie, from the 88 gang, wanted revenge. In truth, the 88 and 95 gangs were just named after two streets, 88 and 95. The 88 gang boss gave him a gun, and he went straight to 95 Street to find Roger's killer. But overcome with fear, Willie fired a random shot and ran away in panic. The values of these kids were truly heartbreaking. When Willie returned home with a gun and saw his stepfather getting aggressive with his mom, he tried to intervene but got shoved to the ground. Seeing his mom being attacked, he pulled the gun again. His stepfather dared him to shoot, and fear clouded Willie's judgment. He accidentally shot his stepfather. That uncontrolled fear-driven reaction was his biggest flaw. Back to Sun, he had now selected his team members. Next, he needed to solve the operational issue: who they'd compete against. Sun started visiting high schools, hoping to get his team accepted for matches. But as soon as people heard they were inmates, they instantly refused. One principal refused as soon as he heard there were gang members on the team. After visiting who knows how many schools, one finally agreed out of compassion. With the match issue settled, the next step was to build a quality team. First, Sun set some ground rules. He said, "I don't care what turf or gang you came from. Now, you're part of the Mustangs. There are only 3 things in this team: get along in the dorms, do well in class, and train hard on the field. In this team, only my word counts. When you made your own choices, you ended up here, total losers. But the Mustangs, we're a team of winners. If you accept my challenge, by the end of December, you'll be real winners." These were Sun's rules and goals for the team. Once the team was formed, intense training began. During practice, Sun would shout, "You can do it. You have pride. You can take this challenge. You can do better." Each player was gradually growing under his encouragement and belief. But motivation alone couldn't erase the hatred between rival gang members on the team. Naturally, some couldn't handle the pressure and wanted to quit. Sun shouted, "If you want to come back, I hope you'll be braver next time." A week later, Sun praised the Mustangs, saying they were the best in training, a team to be proud of. Such praise surely helped the players build self-confidence and a sense of self-worth. Hope, something these failed youths rarely heard in their lives. Everyone raised their hands. Under Sun's guidance, this group of convicts finished their first scrimmage game. Seeing the Mustang team full of spirit made Junior even more eager to join. That night, Sun was teaching football theory to the team. The kids listened intently, despite their poor academic background. But as long as they wanted to learn, Sun was happy to teach them patiently. Suddenly, he heard a strange noise outside. It was Junior practicing contact drills. Sun stepped in to stop Junior. He wasn't a Mustang, so he couldn't train here. At that moment, Junior opened up. He said today was his son's second birthday, but he was locked up and couldn't be with him. He didn't want to be a dog anymore, he wanted to be a real man. Sun asked, "How can I trust you?" Junior answered, "I won't mess this up." Last time he was released, he said the same thing to the judge. "I won't be like that again. I don't want to be a loser who screws everything up, coach. I want people to see that I can play. I'm not useless." So Sun agreed to let him in. The intense training resumed. Due to lack of gear, physical collisions often led to conflict. Willie from 88 and Owen from 95 were especially at odds. During practice, they got into a fierce fight. Sun shouted, "Settle field problems on the field." Then he questioned both of them about why they couldn't cooperate. They both claimed the other's gang had killed their friends. "You want an endless cycle of revenge like this? You want to kill each other because you grew up on different blocks? Why can't we settle this right here, right now? We're just members, our words don't matter." But here, right now, they do. That was undeniably the act of a born leader. Sun's line, "Here, right now, it matters," reframed the conflict as a team issue. But the intense training eventually overwhelmed the players. Sun said, "No good practice, no water." The sun blazed down like fire. Willie sat right down on the ground. Then everyone sat down in front of Sun. They were staging a protest. Seeing this, Sun smiled. The born leader said something brilliant. On the way to the hospital with his mother, Sun said to her, "Am I being too tough, too harsh on those kids?" Because he knew that as a leader, being too strict might make them lose themselves. But if he was too gentle, they wouldn't improve. His mother, seeing her son's dilemma, said, "You have talent. You put on that cap and look like a star. You can't expect them to be like you." Her words clearly woke Sun up. To get gear faster, Sun didn't follow protocol. He personally signed off on $10,000 worth of gear. He said, "At last, you're acting like a real team. You'll be suspended. You know that, right?" "Yes, I know. But first, you'll need to file a $784 and I'll arrange a hearing. Which I'll postpone due to a sick family member, and then appeal. By then, the season's over. Look, Dexter, we already used the gear. You can't take it back. Just let the kids have what they've worked so hard for, okay?" Hearing that, the administration had no choice. It seemed like Sun had bet everything on these kids. On visitation day, everyone had someone come to see them. Only Willie sat alone, with no one by his side. At that moment, Sun brought Willie's girlfriend from before his arrest. The girl who still loved him hadn't completely given up on him. She was still waiting for him to change. But before they could talk much, some thoughtless guy insulted them. Willie immediately got angry and wanted revenge, ignoring his girlfriend's pleas. Seeing the hate still in Willie, she was deeply disappointed. Even though she'd ridden the bus for 2 days just to see him. But in a matter of moments, she left. Then there was a problem with Best too. His mom stood up and screamed, "It wasn't me who put you in here, you did it yourself." It seemed every player had broken ties with their family. Sun saw it all. He began searching for solutions for each player. First, Sun sat down with Best. When he found out Best just wanted his mother's love, wanted someone to believe in him, Sun made him a key receiver on the team. That gave him a sense of trust he'd never felt before. Sun also went to Leon, the former dealer. When he learned Leon was smart but craved validation, he encouraged Leon to help the big guys with slower minds understand the tactics. But for Willie, he still hadn't found a good solution. Sun reviewed every letter the kids wrote. Through a letter, he learned Willie's mother had moved away. She wanted nothing more to do with Willie. The only one who cared was his girlfriend, yet he hadn't received a single reply. Sun was determined to help these kids. But how could he save these boys, so broken, so lost? A big game was coming up, and their key player, Junior, got injured during practice. As they loaded him into the ambulance, the boys cried with deep sorrow. That night, back from the hospital, Sun told them, "Junior's going to be okay." Hearing that, everyone clapped in relief. Sun continued, "Junior had a slipped disc, so he couldn't play." The moment they heard, their confidence vanished. Seeing this, Sun said, "Victory doesn't rest on one player, it depends on all of us, united on the field." During training, a fight broke out on the other team's side. One of the boys wanted to help, but Sun quickly stopped him. Sun said, "The Mustangs, they're your real brothers." His teammates backed him up, urging calm. The guy who wasn't helped started mocking the Mustangs. "You're cowards, you've got no guts. You're a loser, not even half of what it takes to play football." When Junior came back, everyone gathered around him. After greeting his brothers, Junior said, "I missed you all at the hospital. I missed our team. I missed my brothers. You guys, you're my family." As time passed, the team's bond grew stronger and stronger. In their first real match, the team wore crisp white shirts, as if they had never been in a detention center. Kids outside the team looked at them with admiration. Not because of the clean uniforms, but because of the Mustang spirit. At that moment, Sun noticed the chubby kid who had left the team earlier. Realizing what was on his mind, Sun called him over and asked, "Do you want to rejoin the Mustangs?" The boy replied, "But I'm not physically fit enough." Sun said, all you need is heart. True to the team's inclusive spirit, Sun made him the equipment manager. Because Sun knew exactly what his real goal was in building this team. In the locker room, Junior helped each teammate suit up. Since he couldn't play, he wanted to help in any way he could. Before the match, Sun spoke with excitement. Now's the time to prove who you are, that even though you're incarcerated, you're worthy. Are you ready to step onto that field and take what belongs to you? To prove that you've trained hard for this moment? Let's rise to the Mustang challenge together. Every team member was burning with passion. Under Sun's command, the Mustangs charged onto the field. They were entering the battlefield to prove themselves for the first time. The other team's stands were packed with fans, their own side had only 2 facility leaders. The opposing team stormed in like a tidal wave, stunning the Mustangs. The game had barely started and the Mustangs were already crushed after a failed play. Leon approached Sun, asking to be subbed out. Sun replied, I won't take you out, but don't let me down. You have to believe you can finish the job. As the match continued, Willie's fear allowed the opponents to score easily. He angrily slammed the ball into the ground. The Mustangs' failure led to internal bickering. Their short tempers flared up again. Seeing Willie's lack of courage, Sun could only worry from the sidelines. By the second half, the score was 27-0. Sun told Willie, we might not win this game, but let's get some pride back with the next play. He encouraged Willie to give it everything he had, and not give up. But during the next play, Willie still hesitated and held back. After he was taken down again, even the 2 leaders couldn't bear to watch. Faced with repeated tackles, he became overwhelmed with fear. Fear clouded his judgment, he became overly aggressive. Seeing him fight, Sun had no choice but to bench him. Willie even considered quitting the team to escape Sun's disappointment. With teammates making mistake after mistake, failure hung over the team like a fog. Though they hated it, they could only watch the opponents score again. The game ended. The Mustangs lost, 38-0. Sun wanted to scold them, but saw they were already crying. All of them lowered their heads, wiping away tears. Even as inmates, they now had the pride to want to win. Seeing this, Sun had no more words. Junior, like an older brother, comforted them, 38-0, that's Mustang's shame today. Every member quietly gathered around Sun. Sun, his voice hoarse, said, the first time is always the hardest. Today we all made a lot of mistakes, myself included. He continued, the other team has been working together for 3 years. We've had only 3 weeks. But honestly, I don't believe they're 38 points better than you. In my heart, you're the most amazing players. I want you to hold your heads high and prepare harder for the next game. Even in defeat, Sun acknowledged the worth of each player like a true leader. But at this moment, Willie left the team. It seemed like he was beyond saving. At the hospital, Sun visited his mother to confide in her. He wasn't sure if his players could handle the blow of defeat. His mother asked, do you remember how crushed you used to feel after a loss? Sun replied, that's because Dad always belittled me. And when he scolded the players, he realized he was acting just like his father. His mother said nothing, Sun had already recognized his own flaws. The team's loss didn't just hurt morale, it also raised concerns among the facility's leadership. The administration wanted to disband the team. The team was meant to build self-esteem, but now it's backfiring. I fear these kids can't handle failure. Sun couldn't respond, deep down, he wasn't sure either. Just then, someone heard training noises from outside. The kids had gone out on their own to practice in the sun. Everyone headed toward the practice field. It turned out Junior was leading them in training. All the players were waiting for Sun, who had shown up late. It seemed these kids weren't as fragile as they appeared. As Junior said, they're tired of losing. Even Willie, the most difficult one, had come back. Junior tossed the ball to the director and said, then let's play. But in the second game, Willie, playing a key position, was still extremely timid. Because of his mistakes, the team lost again. Sun approached him and said, you're strong, you just give up on yourself too quickly. You're a talented player. I even believe you could become a great one. Willie looked at Sun, doubtful. Sun continued, I'll help you chase your dream. In the post-game practice, Sun suited up himself. He challenged Willie to face him directly. Until Willie could bring him down. He wanted Willie to conquer his fear through repeated collisions. The first try failed. The second try failed. After countless attempts, Willie began glancing around. Sun yelled, what are you looking at? No one can help you. There's no way out now, you've got to sprint full force. You may be alone, but you are enough. Believe in yourself, you can take me down. This time, he actually brought down the massive Sun. The whole team cheered in unison for their brother. Even Owen from the 95 gang joined in. The team's positive spirit had replaced their hot tempers. Willie had also overcome his outward fear. In the next game, the Mustang team moved forward and fell back as one. They had regained their pride. They proved they were not worthless. They cheered joyfully under the setting sun. Light gradually enveloped every team member. Brothers who fought together resolved their conflicts. They let go of their false brotherhoods of the past. Because that was the true value. At the juvenile facility, Mustang members no longer seemed like prisoners. They were full of life. Leon pretended to dislocate something and pulled a worried Sun into the water. Even Sun's assistant couldn't escape the splash. The team had made remarkable progress, but Sun was worried. Because his mother didn't have much time left. The leadership advised him to take some time off. As Sun prepared to go to the field, the director seemed to be delivering news to someone. When Sun reached the dorm to gather the boys, they stood in line like they were in trouble. Sun shouted, "Why aren't you out here yet?" Junior and Leon stepped aside, and Junior held up a bouquet the team had prepared and said, "These are for your mom." The kids all looked at Sun with sincere eyes. They wished their coach could spend more time with his mother. Best pulled out a card signed by everyone and gave it to Sun. They all sincerely wished her a swift recovery. Sun choked up in gratitude and let them practice on their own. As he turned to leave, Willie called out to him, "I'll dedicate my next touchdown to our mom." Sun turned back, eyes wide, holding tears at the corners. Just like the blessings from the dorm, they brought tears he couldn't hold back. When he reached his mother's bedside, she pointed to each name on the card, praising each one as a good kid. Before she passed, she told Sun, "My greatest achievement in life is raising a good man. I'm proud of you. Your father would be proud too." But when his father was mentioned, Sun's face showed dissatisfaction. It turned out Sun had deep issues with his father. Seeing she had little time left, Sun promised her he had forgiven his father. A few hours later, his mother passed away. The next day's game felt like a dream to Sun. He stood on the sideline, thinking of his mother, imagining she could still watch all his games. At that moment, after scoring, Willie pointed towards Sun, then pointed to the sky, dedicating the score to his mother. Seeing this, Sun felt deeply fulfilled. Over time, the transformation in these kids grew even stronger. The team had helped them find themselves. They each wrote home, sharing their changes and reconnecting with loved ones. But only Willie never got a reply from his girlfriend. Sun looked at the address on the envelope and drove to her house. When he arrived, Sun realized it wasn't that Willie's girlfriend wasn't replying to the letters, but that her father had been hiding them all. His reason was simple. He hoped his daughter would go to college and cut ties with Willie. What father would want his daughter involved with a gang member? So he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Sun said, "Willie has changed." He hoped the father could give Willie a chance. Sun placed the letter down and left. That day, the leader of the 88 gang came to visit Willie. The assistant saw him and turned him away immediately. As he was leaving, he spotted Owen, who had reformed. Seeing Owen's 95 tattoo, he began to threaten and provoke him. It seemed something bad was silently brewing. Sure enough, during the final game of the season, he showed up at the field. As the Mustang team celebrated their playoff qualification, the 88 gang leader appeared. He pulled a gun and shot at Owen. The entire stadium descended into chaos. As he prepared to fire again, Willie tackled him to the ground, saving Owen. Owen, after all, had once been in a rival gang. Sun rushed in to protect his team. Then, the police arrived and shot down the fleeing gang leader. Seeing this, Willie fell into deep fear. Back at the facility, he refused to acknowledge being part of Mustang. Because saving Owen meant betraying the gang leader who was killed. And betrayal meant being hunted down. Terrified, he wanted to quit Mustang and isolate himself. At that moment, Sun returned from the hospital. He walked in and said, "Owen's life isn't in danger." But Willie said, "Maybe it's better if I die." Sun shouted, "No matter what, your life is already on the line. Because those so-called brothers already know what you did yesterday. If you go back, you'll be shot for sure. They believe you've stopped working for them." Fear made him lose control again. He attacked Sun. Sun quickly restrained him and yelled, "Besides me, who else even cares about you right now? I don't need anyone else. You don't care about me or anything? That's right. Then why did you risk your life to save Calvin yesterday? Answer me." At that moment, he was terrified to the core. All of his past failures came rushing back. He became completely confused and lost. Sun crouched down next to him and said, "I know you're not the same failure you once were. You're just not used to being a winner." Willie started to talk about his childhood memories. He said his father always called him worthless. Sun said bluntly, "Your father was a failure, and so was mine." Sun shared how his father belittled him, just like Willie's did. And he tried to teach Willie how to forgive his family. To regain control of his own life. He continued, "I know how you feel. Every time you feel like you might fail, you give up before it happens. If we want to win, we have to let go of all that baggage. Forget the bad past and move forward with a lighter load." At this moment, Willie suddenly asked, "How long did it take you to forgive your dad?" Sun stayed silent for a while. After a pause, this tough man quietly shed tears. Then sincerely said, "Just recently." This genuine and powerful moment became the turning point. That helped Willie truly let go of fear and find his courage again. Sometimes, that's just how it is, you have to let go of what weighs you down, so you can truly move forward without looking back. At the hospital, Sun was watching over the injured Owen. At that moment, his assistant brought bad news. The team had been disqualified from the playoffs. But Sun still wanted to try one last time. At the hearing, Sun argued with logic and passion. He said, "My player was protecting a teammate, not attacking an enemy. Besides, they've now won 8 games in a row. These kids have shown tremendous improvement. We need to give them one more chance." But the officials still refused him. and the reason was just one. They couldn't guarantee that another uncontrollable incident wouldn't happen. When Sun had no more arguments left, the sheriff stood up and made a promise to the board. There won't be another shooting. From then on, every playoff game had volunteer police protection for the Mustang team. Whether they were from the police department or civilian volunteers, they all wanted to give these kids a chance at redemption. Now, the Mustang team even had their own cheer squad. Though they were female inmates from the same facility, they always brought the energy and lit up the field. They had more fans than ever before. Willie's girlfriend, Best's mother, and many supporters came to cheer for the kids. This time, they were once again facing the powerful Chita team. They had previously been crushed by this team with a score of 38-0. Would they be able to reclaim their pride this time? Seeing the team worried, Sun said, "What are you afraid of? We already got beaten 38-0 last time, it can't get any worse than that. Besides, today you will reclaim Mustang's honor." Before the game started, injured Owen also showed up. Though he couldn't play, he came to support his brothers. That was the powerful spirit of unity within the team. The match began. Willie caught the kickoff from the opposing team. Under the protection of his teammates, he gave it his all, sprinting forward. Seeing the opponent charging at Willie, Best threw himself in to block and protect Willie. Willie finally scored a touchdown. But due to Best's penalty, the touchdown was disqualified. Sun comforted Best, "Don't be discouraged, we'll get it back soon." But the opponents were no pushovers either. They quickly responded with 2 touchdowns of their own. By halftime, the Mustang team was trailing by 14 points. The players trudged back to the locker room in low spirits. Seeing this, the assistant approached Sun, telling him he needed to lift their spirits. But Sun replied, "They need to find the belief in victory themselves." In the locker room, the players complained about the opponent's strength. But Willie said, "They're not that strong. We're the stronger team." He continued, "When this all started, Coach said we would become winners. I didn't believe him. I didn't care about any of you either. But now, we're united. Coach was right. We have changed ourselves. Let's prove to the world together that we're not trash. We're not losers anymore. This next play is just another chance to prove that." Then he picked up his helmet and stomped his foot on the ground. All the players rallied behind him. They were united. They were full of determination to take control of their lives. Even those outside the locker room could hear their shouts. Sun knew then, they were truly ready. The game resumed. The Chita team kicked off first, but they were pushed back by the solid Mustang team. Immediately, this move ignited an eruption from the crowd. Another kickoff, and Willie was tackled by the opponent. But when facing stronger opponents, Willie was no longer afraid. He took the initiative to strategize with his teammates. The game continued, and Leon made a direct pass. Willie, playing quarterback, made a breakthrough. Under the protection of his teammates, facing the defensive line, he bravely charged forward, taking down the defenders and scoring successfully. This lit up the entire stadium. The scales of victory began to tilt in their favor. But time was running out. In the fourth quarter, they were still trailing by 4 points. Only 1 minute left to score if they wanted to win. At that moment, Sun prepared for Best to kick. Because he wanted Best, who lacked confidence, to feel trusted. This was also the secret card Sun had kept hidden all along. Seeing Best hesitate, Sun said, "It's just a game. Just give it your best shot." While the team was discussing the play, Junior, who was injured, suddenly appeared on the field. He said, "I want to prove to my son, to prove to the world that I'm not the loser they say I am." Everyone was shocked. Junior calmly said, "It's just a slip disc. Just follow me, brothers. Let's finish this mission together." The final offensive drive began. Leon threw a direct pass to Willie. To protect Willie, Junior courageously took down 2 defenders. Only Willie was left to face the final line of defense. Facing taunts from the opponent, he didn't hesitate, he charged straight into the end zone. Willie's final touchdown sent the entire stadium into a frenzy. This was a historic moment. And a moment worth going wild over. Who could have imagined that a group of failed teenagers could defeat a professional-level high school football team? They didn't just beat a former powerhouse. They reclaimed the lives they had once lost. In the championship game afterward, though they didn't win the title, no one called them losers anymore. From then on, the kids were all released. Among them, 24 returned to school. 3 found full-time jobs. Only 5 ended up back in detention. But that was a huge drop from the previous 75%. After his release, Junior found a job and lived with his family. Owen, after recovery, joined the Washington High School team. Best returned to his mother and resumed school back home. Willie even received a full scholarship, representing a top school in football. No matter how prestigious the school was, at least he had left behind his old life on 88th Street. And Sun continued his mission of compassion, helping reform the next generation of Mustang players. Just as Sun once said, "If you can take on enough challenges and get used to being a winner, then even if life takes everything from you, you can still reclaim your dignity." At the end of the film, real-life images of the actual people were shown. Even the dialogue was preserved exactly. Thinking about quitting again? You know this drill. This drill means you run, you train. You still have a uniform. Go ahead. Our football team is still here. If you want to come back, we'll still be here. Next time you return, come back stronger than this. In truth, the real story was even more inspiring than the movie. Thank you for watching the movie. What did you think of this film? Feel free to leave your comments below.